Greetings and welcome to Sports 101, the show that discusses sport beyond the X's and O's. We like to expand our conversation of sport to include the history, past, present, and in the making. We also look at sport from a people, places, and cultural perspective. I am your host, Jamar Harp. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Coach_Harp412 and Facebook under Jamar Harp. Make sure you get social with this show and a variety of other shows on SportsZone Chicago by following us on Twitter at SportsZone CHI, Facebook at SportsZone Chicago, and Instagram at SportsZone Chicago. Remember, SportsZone Chicago is a sports talk app. You can watch my show or listen to any other show on SportsZone Chicago. Keep up with breaking news, and if you miss something, don't worry about it. Look for the YouTube channel, search SportsZone Chicago. But more importantly, we want you to download the SportsZone Chicago app. The SportsZone Chicago app can be found in the iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon stores. This week, we would like to discuss the NBA in Africa. If you look at our title picture right here that our producer Maya's putting up, Greg had a personal situation, so our thoughts are with him. If you look at this title picture right here, this is the NBA Commissioner David Silver, along with some past NBA greats, Dikembe Mutombo, and some others that are championing the NBA's new venture in Africa. Now, this is after they did NBA Europe at first in the early 90s or 2000s. Remember that campaign? And a lot of people looked at that weird because the majority of your players are African-American descent. Then why would you spend millions of dollars trying to build a champion in Europe? Recently, they decided to start a professional basketball league in Africa, and that'll be the main focus of our subject today. The NBA is the third watch sport in the United States, just behind American football and baseball. It was founded in 1946 and now consists of over 30 teams across the United States. The NBA is also the third wealthiest league behind the NFL and MLB by revenue, but also among the top four in the world. It was able to achieve such high revenues not due to domestic viewership, but to international support. It's able to garner such international support due to countries like China and its global marketing strategy and having players from so many different nations. The NBA is one of the top sports leagues in the USA, but one of the top fan bases in the NBA is in China. Remember, China is the most populous nation in the world, and with Yao Ming having a success in the early 90s, and even the Jeremy Lin Sanity that took place a few years ago, China's been heavily involved, not only for those stars, but just their love for the game. If you look at even Stephon Marbury in his retirement, when he went to China, he was nationalized. He has statues over there just because their love of basketball, and that extends beyond the NBA. They also love the street style, the And One tour, just hip hop in general. If you ever go to China, some of the best places that you say will have a good time would be karaoke bars and things that serve a reverence to American hip hop. So we're talking about how insanely big that the NBA is in China, because these Chinese brands, they earn hundreds and millions of dollars off of the NBA. The NBA has taken a massive marketing action to build audiences not only in China, but Spain and England. Currently, the NBA is a league where 108 international players represent 38 countries and territories on opening night rosters for the 2019-2020 season. Every single team had at least one foreign-born player. Games were broadcast through TV and websites in 215 countries and over 50 languages across the world. So this is showing the global popularity of the NBA and the measures these countries are taking to get it, such as everyone has their own ESPN, is broadcast in their own language, and they sponsor the NBA. So the NBA is selling this product to all these countries. One of the biggest global events that the global world loves about the NBA is All-Star Break. You have 19 international players from 15 countries in 2019. If you ever noticed press row at the All-Star game, it's multi-tiered. Usually the press row usually one or two, but it might be 4 tiers with everyone doing the game in so many different languages and representing so many different newspapers from all these individual countries. The NBA has started several programs in the last decade to broaden awareness as well as offer physical and mental help to advance these players, help their families and communities both domestically and globally. So basically what if you look at what Branch Rickey did with the Brooklyn Dodgers and what a lot of the major soccer leagues are doing is they go to Africa and different territories, South America, and they build talent so that the parent teams in these countries can end up buying the players. So in this case, that all these players are hoped to either play for the Basketball Africa League, was a joint venture between the NBA and professional teams in Africa, or ultimately the NBA. And some people would say it could be a championship between both leagues because, again, the NBA is the parent league. If you look at the first program that demonstrates this first picture right here is Basketball Without Borders. So Basketball Without Borders, if you look at the picture, you can see it's FIBA sanctioned. FIBA is the federal organization of basketball. Remember, in different languages, the subject-verb agreement is backwards. So it reads Federal International Basketball Association, or FIBA. Same thing with FIFA. And you can also see they have the globe on there, meaning they're trying to go to different countries, expand globally. The same thing they were trying to do with the European Super League. The NBA is trying to do as well, except it's manifested in this route with junior leagues, such as the Basketball Africa League. So in Basketball Without Borders, it's basically instructional camps organized by the NBA in conjunction with FIBA. And the camps are presented as professional development, and they are outreach programs, usually in rural areas that don't have baskets or courts. Sometimes the players don't even have shoes. And they use it to promote sport and encourage positive social change in these areas. Sometimes when these athletes, if they don't even make it big, if they're selected to either on a local or national level, different facilities will be offered, as some communities still don't have access to running water or electricity on a daily basis, depending on where you're at in certain countries. All the campers are selected due to ability, and you have to be 18 years of age or under to participate in this program. It's been organized annually since 2001. There's been 41 Basketball Without Borders camps, and they've been held in 23 cities and 20 countries with over 2,300 participants for more than 120 countries and territories. 33 of these players from Basketball Without Borders were drafted into the NBA. So again, that shows that the feeder program is working. Around 150 different current or former WNBA as well as NBA players have joined nearly 140 NBA teams personnel as staff. So if you look at these pictures right here, you'll see all the different former players. That's Alonzo Mourning working the camp right here. If you look at the next picture, you see Kyrie Irving working the camp, and I think this is in the Sudan. And this is Joel Embiid also working at camp. And you can see behind him, Carlos Boozer is an assistant counselor. So these are all the different current and past NBA players that take their time and go volunteer with Basketball Without Borders, and particularly in Africa, as most of them are of African descent through the diaspora. Initially, the Basketball Without Borders was only for boys between 12 and 14 years of age from Eastern Europe. Remember, the NBA's initial programs for outreach were in Eastern Europe, and they were supposedly targeted towards the Eastern Bloc, Yugoslavia, and all the Slavic countries after in the early 2000s, shortly after the Yugoslavian wars. They also focused on Greece and Turkey in 2002 amidst the Greek and Turkish relations, which led to participation from United Nations in both cases. So if you look at these two examples, you can see the NBA has stepped in globally with these situations, but you don't see the same thing with conflict in, let's say, Darfur, which is in the Sudan, these same areas that they're trying to put camps in right now. So that leads you to question what political motives did they have for doing this at this time. From 2003 edition onwards, the basketball without borders became the focus of the camps, trying to improve the European talent for the National Basketball Association. Currently, and even at that time, the NBA is predominantly African descent, either through the diaspora or born on the continent. In 2003, you also saw the first edition of Basketball Without Border camps in Africa, which was seen as uncharted basketball territory at the time. If you remember, at that time, all you saw was the litany of centers that usually came to America and most often played at religious institutions. If you look at George Washington, the progression of centers at Georgetown, which is a Catholic university, and the depictions of the Kevin Bacon movie, The Arab There, where they went to get a center and he ended up playing for, a religious institution. No one, again, had thought to do camps in Africa at the time. It was mainly focused in Eastern Europe. Again, this is very weird because the majority of players of African descent through the African diaspora. These camps would later expand to the Americas in 2004 and in Asia in 2005, including youth all around the globe. Individuals in Oceania, which is mainly the Polynesian region of the Pacific Ocean, also attended later editions, but in different regions because they were so small, they didn't have their own region. There was also a global camp that was first organized in 2015 in New York City as a part of that year's All-Star Game festivities, giving an opportunity for select players identified as the best in their region to have the taste of the game at the highest level. This also became a reoccurring event. These camps have become real big, and they become hotspots for scouts, and they also oppress a number of former campers who have made it to the NBA. So a lot of these campers have current relevant examples to look forward to. So some Basketball Without Borders alumni would be Pascal Siakam, who recently won a championship with the Raptors, Joel Embiid, Kelly Olynyk, Nicholas Batum, Luke Mbah-a-Moute, Omri Caspary, Danilo Gallinari, and Mark Gasol. The next product or venture that we'd like to talk about the NBA is doing on a global scale is they're starting NBA academies. Now, these NBA academies is a year-round elite basketball development school, and is to provide top high school age prospects from outside the U.S. with a holistic approach to player development. So what they mean is a lot of these times outside the U.S., the countries are labeled third world countries. So they're giving the children a Western indoctrination in regards to what they're going to deal with over here, as their goal is to try to get them in the NBA and be further representatives of Basketball Without Borders and represent their current ethnic or cultural group as well as their home nation. The NBA Academy programs, they include 6 academies across Australia, China, India, Mexico, and the most recent one in Senegal for top prospects from their respective countries and continents. So this is big. So these is like the 6 super centers across the world. So outside of the United States, they have one in Australia, China, India, Mexico, and then the one for Africa is located in West Africa and is in Senegal. So what the NBA does is they have scouts that, of course, go out globally and they identify prospects through a global network. And they develop relationships with the local federations all the way down to maybe a boys' school, a small religious school in a small province of Eastern Sudan. But there's people looking everywhere, and you show talent, you can try out and be selected to one of these mega academies. They also are mobile basketball training. They have an application called Home Court that they use, and it just basically what it does is it tracks international talent. Think of like how Dr. Xavier had his machine and he would track people with mutant abilities. They have a software for that. So they put everyone in it because it's so hard to do it globally. And then you send people to see these individuals and they get selected into the center with hopes of obviously making it to the NBA for their respective country. The program also focuses on health and wellness. Again, a lot of these individuals may come from environments where they didn't eat 3 meals a day, or may be in an environment heavy in carbohydrates or starches. So just getting their bodies ready for the demand that they're doing, because it's basically like an old school Russian Olympic training facility. They have character and life skill development, i.e. Westernization, and they give all these prospects the opportunity to learn the game from the coaches that the NBA does hire. And oftentimes these coaches were former professional, collegiate, and international coaches who all have ties to America and Africa, again, through the diaspora. Depending on which location of the academy that you're at, you can also get academic support. Again, sometimes schooling is not mandatory in these areas. And that's also include getting you placed in a local public school. Maybe sometimes the top players receive a scholarship to a local private school and just fund their way using NCAA approved virtual learning programs. What this is this stops the if you know anything about high school basketball, which is very corrupt. It stops the home feeder program where you have people moving from other countries, living with families, and going to these different high schools to win state championships. So what they said is they wanted to keep the talent in-house, and when working with the NBA, they ought to do that with these programs. The last program I'd like to talk about is called NBA Cares. And NBA Cares is the league's global social responsibility program. So it's a social justice arm that works on the NBA's mission of addressing important social issues that usually involve around education, youth, and family development, and also some health-related causes in communities around the world. Again, because a lot of these communities are suffering. Again, the caveat to or often to these suffering is something to do with the West. For example, the countries that did lose their irrigation when the Nile was dammed off and all the animals died in their country and created flies is because the Western countries dammed the Nile off and cut the water supply to their country. So again, a lot of these people are in these situations due to the West, and now the West is coming back in to help them out. The NBA Cares program is started in 2005, and they pledge to donate 1 million hours of hands-on community service. They also want to raise $100 million and build 100 safe places for kids. Now, these safe places equate to basketball courts. So basically, this is just another way to work with the other initiatives to get top talent and provide them a place to play so someone can see them and they can get pushed on either through their country's ranks or if they're good enough to get to the United States. So just like they do track in Eastern Africa, the same thing is happening in West Africa now with basketball with these academies. So if you look at this video right here. This is an example of an NBA academy, and we'll discuss this right after the video.
As an African player, when I first started, there wasn't no academy. If I had that opportunity, I would have taken it because of what it provides.
For him to train on that court and staying, it's a good facility. Every day going in there is like walking into the NBA gym.
If I was a parent in Africa, sending my kids to the academy would be a no-brainer. That experience, I don't think you'll get anywhere else.
It's a great sentiment of joy to know that kids from the continent can finally get some elite training on the continent and be prepared to play at the next level.
We try to get the right type of person. We try to give them an opportunity that they want to take advantage of themselves. We want guys to go to the NBA and we're going to give them a chance. Some of them, they weren't great academically, and now they're going to major institutions. We've asked them to become comfortable being uncomfortable, meaning learn a different language, learn different foods, travel, get to know your other African brothers. They're going to make mistakes, you're going to grow, you're going to learn, because this is a developmental program, but you have to want to grow. You have to want to be special, and you have to show gratitude. It's not just about basketball. When we decided to launch the academy, ultimately the decision was made to come to Sali, Senegal, where we can create a first-class environment for the young people on the continent.
Sali is a city that's about an hour away from Dakar. Very safe for families to vacation, to live, and to just relax. So the kids can have the opportunity to focus on what brings them here, basketball in school, but also have a chance to be kids, able to go to the beach, be able to do activities that help them be good teammates and grow holistically.
The APEX program is ideal for our student athletes because it is accredited by the NCAA and gives them the credits they need to go on to study in the United States. Over the course of the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen students gain access to universities that they never imagined they would be eligible for before they came to us.
I'm working very hard, and now I got my SAT, TOEFL, and I'm graduate from high school. This kind of program is a big thing for us, and for sure I'm going to represent NBA Academy in University of New Mexico, and I hope I will be part of family forever.
Another great experience for our young people here at the NBA Academy is that they get a chance to travel. We play high-level talents. We play in America, Paris, Prague, all over the place. The kind of exposure that our young people would get playing in front of NCAA coaches, NBA scouts, everyone would know who they are.
When I travel, it's a really great opportunity to learn new cultures and ways things are done in other countries and other continents. Like the first time I traveled out of Africa was in Orlando. I learned a lot, the way people eat, the way people sleep. My trip to New York also, it was really great to see how busy the city is, how big the city is, and how people move.
NBA Academy has helped Sano to grow as a person. He's more responsible now compared to when he was at home. He's more focused and he really knows what to do.
It's the NBA Academy Africa. Like, it's Africa. We go out there together and show the world what we can do as a unit. Being here has given me so much opportunity. I've been able to accomplish and acquire more than I think I'll ever will. So I'm saying this out there for my young and proud teammates I'm going to have next year. Like, being part of the NBA Academy Africa, it's a dream come true. You wouldn't ask for anything more than being part of the NBA Academy Africa. Think about it.
Now, when breaking down the video, there was a lot of different components I'd like to address. First, one of the reasons why they chose Senegal. If you look at the video, you saw the African Renaissance statue, which is a man, woman, and child pointed toward the ocean, so similar toward the Statue of Liberty. So when people return back home, you can see that, and that's supposed to be the welcoming statue, welcoming families back home to the continent. Also, due to Senegal being on the coast and its close proximity to all the countries in West Africa, and the amount of height that you have in Senegal, which is known for producing one of the countries for producing tall people. You have the Senegal, Cameroon, Sudan, Zaire, known for producing tons of people over 7 feet tall. So there was a lot of reasons to select Senegal, mainly due to its proximity and what they're trying to build a relationship with people from the diaspora, hence the statue being built. Secondly, what the players and the coaches talked about, having a familiarity with everyone on the team. And there's people from so many different countries and ethnic groups that may or may not get along, oftentimes due to the Western, or all times due to colonization and with wars that happened to that due to tribal lines being split, countries being drew up during the Berlin Conference. So, for example, there's people on the team from Egypt. They may face backlash because they are of Arab descent. And if you look at historically what happened with Arabs, not only in East, but in West Africa, including the trans-Saharan slave trade, and what they're doing to the Nubians now in the country, they may find resentment from individuals from West Africa, what they call sub-Saharan Africa, again, because they try to demarcate it now with the line between above and below the Sahara, which indicates the countries that are major Arab influence, which is people of non-African descent. So that's all that means. So there was a lot of good reasons to choose this academy. And this academy, to talk about it, it's an elite basketball training center in Senegal, only for the top of male and female prospects throughout the entire continent. That's all 56 countries in Africa. So this academy is a partner between the NBA and the SEED Project. So the SEED Project stands for Sports for Education and Economic Development. So they want to use sport to develop the economy by building infrastructure to create sponsorship. Hopefully these sponsors will want to increase their sponsorship and start a league, which was maybe play on television and play their ads. And then these players will ultimately go through and represent the continent in the NBA or in major college basketball, as a young man stated who was at the University of New Mexico. There's a nonprofit organization based in Thiès, Senegal, that uses basketball as a platform to engage youth in academic, athletic, and leadership programs. And alumni from that program also include Gorgui Zhang from the Memphis Grizzlies, who's also from Senegal and is a Basketball Without Borders Africa 2009 graduate. In 2018, the NBA opened a new elite basketball training center, which you just saw above, in Sali, Senegal, which is right on the beach. It was beautiful. That was a beautiful location to serve as a primary training location for NBA Africa prospects from all across the continent. So that means every country, or all 56 countries on the continent, and including Madagascar, the island, the best players would go there and train in hopes of getting a Division I college scholarship or playing professionally in Europe or in the NBA. This brand new facility has 2 indoor basketball courts, a multi-dimensional activity center, so you can do different types of workouts that are high and low impact, a swimming pool, a weight room, conference rooms, dormitories, education facilities, the whole 9 yards. The facility like this was also built to stop the trend of African players, particularly in centers, to live with host families in America so they can keep the talent in-house. So just to give you an example, we'll go over the current roster that's in Senegal right now. We have a forward center who's 18 years old, Adeoli Taiwo, who's 6'8", from Nigeria. You have Grace Aluma from the Congo, who's 17 and 5'11", who's a guard. You have Jerry Dibini Japot from Central African Republic, who's a forward center who's 19 and 6'9". You have Kirkir Cole from Southern Sudan, who's a guard forward at 17 and 6'6". Victor Eze from Nigeria, an 18-year-old, 6'4" guard. Maziani Adamu from Ghana, 6'8", 17-year-old forward center. Ugana Onesi from Nigeria, a 16-year-old 6'10" center. And Maraf Mamoni from Cameroon, a 16-year-old 6'5" guard. You have a Daniel Akue from Gabon, who's 15. He's a 6'7" guard. You have a 6'6", 17-year-old Dick Sano from Rwanda, who, again, is a forward center, 17 years old and 6'6". Olatabu Samuel from Nigeria, a 6'8", a 19-year-old guard. And Babakar Sane from Senegal, who's another guard who's 6'6" and 17. And then Lamine Diouf from Senegal, who's the oldest of the bunch, 20 years old, and he's a center. So if you watch this quick video right here, this is a video of the International Boys Championship in 2019. The championship game it's continents. So the championship was between Africa and Canada, and we could watch the video and see how the game went.
The free throw line made them both to ice the game and the win against Europe. Lima Faye at center court along with Thomas Campbell, and the jump ball is controlled by Canada. Milicevic with the ball, chasing it down along the sideline. Ashton McQuaig in the lane, and amongst the trees, his little lefty runner is good ball. Campbell to Tissington. Tissington saw a crease to drive. It's a driving kick, and it's a splash down three out of the corner for the
underneath, but he's got a dynamic to his game of which he knows how to find and read the defender.
Pretty drive by Milicevic. Paint catch, and Maruf Famine on the board now.
High-low pass, the delivery of that right on point that kept him away from that help defender on the left side.
Tissington, three-pointer is on target. 1 point game, Africa in front. Mamine to Babacar Chibi lead. Oh, and just a blur to the basket. Dunkley's gone out. Inbounds pass to Tissington. Jovan Milicevic, yes sir, three-pointer by Milicevic. And Garima. Tissington lost the ball. Mumine got a hand on it. Up ahead, and it's a score for Dumercy Ilonga. Trying to go to McQuaig, steal. And whipped up the floor. Oh, what a nice pass by Cabella, and into the game from Mali is Badara Diakite. Left side of the floor, block shot, Diakite. Block Jovan Milicevic, and defense to offense for Diakite. The block, and then the run out and the slam dunk. And Africa is imposing their will in the game. Mumie off a steal. He flushes. To answer at the other end with a three-point try. That was missed by Delica Cabella, but a score inside for Africa on the offensive rebound. Tissington blocked. McQuaig picks it up. Leaves the heave short. Another long outlet pass. Turns it into a fast break, and a fast break that turns into 2 more points for Africa. Since 15-15, they have outscored Canada 36-12, 38-12.
Talk to these kids and tell them what it takes to get to the point where he's at. Not everyone's going to be the next Vince Carter on the floor.
Championship this past year, and the aforementioned Pascal Siakam being a huge part of it. Faye, steal, doesn't miss.
Supremely offensively focused in how these teams find ways to score, but also very tenacious on the defensive end. So I think a lot of it's going to come down.
Division winner and Quentin Webb. Players who participated in the tournament last year and have experience, like Donald Blue. Final score, Africa 80, Canada 46. The winners and still champions of the international bracket of the Junior NBA Global Championship, Team Africa.
Okay, so we analyze that video. What most people don't understand is a lot of these gentlemen just start playing organized basketball recently. The number one sport on that continent throughout the world is soccer. And just to be able to get that skill level out in a few years of training, even though these facilities are being built, I think that's phenomenal. Most people grow up playing basketball at a young age in the United States, but when you don't have courts or anything, and the NBA cares is just starting to build these things, all you had was soccer fields. If you look at Hakeem Olajuwon and Ndamukong Suh, a lot of our professional athletes that do hail from West Africa originally played soccer growing up. So just to see this transition and to be able to do this in the junior NBA championships is phenomenal. When we come back from break, we're going to look at professional basketball and the rise of Basketball Africa League, which is co-sponsored by the NBA. This is Sports 101, and we'll be right back with you.
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I just arrived to get my COVID shot, and this is one shot I won't block.
Gratitude to a great ball club for courageous efforts.
No Celtics were harmed during my shot. Let's do this together. To learn more about vaccines, visit cdc.gov.
Welcome back. Again, I'm Jamar Harp, and this is Sports 101, that show that discusses sport beyond the X's and O's. We like to talk about the game from a people, places, and cultural perspective through the lens of history, past, present, as well as in the making. Please make sure you get social with this show as well as SportsZone Chicago's litany of other shows by following us on social media. You can find SportsZone Chicago on Twitter at SportsZoneCHI, Facebook at SportsZone Chicago, and Instagram at SportsZone Chicago. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, search SportsZone Chicago, but most importantly, please, please, please download the SportsZone Chicago app. The SportsZone Chicago app can be found in the iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon stores. Now, before we talk about the Basketball African League, I'd like to talk about the precursors to that, the African Basketball League. So Ugo Udeze, he was living a basketball American dream. Here's a picture of Mr. Udeze right here. Mr. Udeze is a native of Lagos, Nigeria, and was an NBA sports agent for BDA Sports. That's one of the top agencies. This is a picture of his playing days at the University of Wyoming. He was a former forward center there, but had some knee troubles, and then ended up going pro. Some of his former clients included Andre Robinson, Nene, and Festus Ezeli. So many people say, why did Udeze give up being a sports agent at a top agency and go back to Africa? It was so he could have a league and have ownership. Mr. Udeze was stated as he was home, and most importantly for him, he was building an industry that never existed before. He was creating jobs, opportunities in just over a year of being in existence, not only for players, but for owners, facility managers, a holistic chain of events by having a professional basketball league in his home country of Nigeria. So in 2017, Mr. Udeze started the African Basketball League with 6 teams that spring, and he rebranded it into the 10-team Continental Basketball League in 6 African countries when they got more participation. The Continental Basketball League had countries or teams in countries that included Nigeria, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast, Benin, and Togo. There were 9 team owners, and there was one team, the Echo Kings, that was run by the league due to sponsorship. The Continental Basketball League was expected to announce that it would move its 2018 season to the fall and have a 15-game campaign with a Final Four style playoff in November and December. The Continental Basketball League had its own production company to show television games in sub-Saharan Africa and was working on a broader cable deal. Mr. Udeze was with a larger network to broadcast in Europe and in the States. Mr. Udeze used his knowledge from working as an NBA agent and being around the NBA in his title as CEO of the CBL to grow it into a more powerful league that developed players in Africa, but also had African team owners and employees. As he previously stated, he wanted to bring ownership. This was bucking the system because in sub-Saharan Africa, just by heritage alone, there was the best basketball players again in the world, and that's through the African diaspora. So it was always there. So he took advantage of this opportunity where someone else did that was not from there, and that was his main focus. With his experience in the game, he stated he was a valuable asset to the region, again, because there was no professional basketball league due to the pre-colonial system that had been in place where the top talent would maybe go to an academy and then move out to Europe or the United States. There was a lot of people who were supporters who believed in his African dream and Africans creating something for themselves. But he did have a lot of support because the league did have to pay to go to a lot of the games. at first, but then there was a lot of support coming in. Some more money started to come in. To give you a little presence about Mr. Udeze, Mr. Udeze, he also played for the Nigerian junior national team before going to Wyoming in 1996. The son, he was a son of Africans that were educated in the United States that came to America on a scholarship. And he left Nigeria and moved to Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where he attended Riverdale Baptist School. He from Riverdale Baptist in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, he was able to gain a scholarship to the University of Wyoming, where he averaged 20 points and 7 rebounds as a sophomore in the 98-99 season. But after microfractures in his knees, he redshirted and was a shell of himself his last 2 seasons. He did, however, graduated with a degree in communications with an emphasis in public relations and advertising. Moving back to the DMV or the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, as Maya told me to point out before, that's that area that's, around Washington, D.C., the area of Maryland and Virginia. He went and he began training kids from the continent in basketball, and he met a mutual friend who introduced him to an NBA agent called Bill Duffy, who represented Yao Ming, Carmelo Anthony, Steve Nash, and more NBA players under his company, BDA Sports. So Mr. Duffy had an eye on, again, getting the top African talent. So he hired Udeze to be his agent for West Africa in 2003. So besides Robertson, Nene, and Festus Ezeli, Mr. Udeze represented Daniel Ochefu, Hashim Tabit, Ben Uzo, Joakim Noah, Ike Diagu during his 14 years as an agent. He still remains close with his former players as they come back to the continent and do events, often sponsored by Mr. Udeze and their local countries. After working 14 years, he bought a professional team in his hometown called the Lagos Islanders in 2015. He described that as he wanted to do much more, and he saw that there was an opportunity in Nigeria after seeing a very poor basketball system with a lot of talent that was being outsourced. At the beginning, he disliked seeing the Islanders' opponents show up late to games, not having uniforms or even bad uniforms. So that gave him the idea just to start a league. And that's when he moved back to Lagos full-time in October of 2016. When he moved back in 2016, his focus was in Africa and each country where he thought there was a Yao Ming. His vision, there could be 20 Yao Mings at that level in Africa, and with the type of personality and type of talent that he could bring to the highest level, he thought it would be a great venture to start this professional league. Amadou Fall, the NBA's vice president and managing director for Africa, the Toronto Raptors president, Masai Ujiri, and also New York Knicks scout, Maktar Njai, formerly of the UNC Chapel Hill and the University of Michigan, and several others have also been instrumental in helping develop African players and bring them to the United States. But his vision was to keep them there. He envisioned a day when young African basketball players can make it to the NBA through his professional league, just like they do in Europe and Australia and China and all these other professional basketball leagues. He wanted to establish a professional league on the continent. Again, Mr. Udeze was quoted, "We are trying to emulate the AAU program in the United States so we can contribute on a grassroots level and also flood the market with his players." The CBL games were very marketed to promote a fan-friendly and family atmospheres. They had cheerleaders, DJs, and entertainment similar to the NBA and minor league baseball. Udeze had the league with I started about 200 employees the next season, and he was able to triple that as well as get over 15 sponsors. His most crowning achievement, what he was proud of, is his own apparel and shoe company he started called AFA Sports, which Mr. Udeze owns. The name AFA means Africa for Africa and represents a concept that highlights Africa's sport development, national pride, and fashion. AFA Sports is making uniforms and basketball shoes not only for the Continental Basketball League, but the Nigerian national team as well. They're scheduled to open a flagship store in Victoria Island, which is an exclusive part of Lagos, Nigeria, as well as 2 other stores recently. As you look at these pictures right here, this is a sample of the shoes that they're making. Again, they have the AFA logo on it, Africa for Africans, athletic shoe made in Africa by Africans for Africans, to use in their play professionally and in leisure. And you can look at the next pictures. You see this is an AFA uniform that the Nigeria men's and women's national teams are wearing. So again, they're spawning deals from Nike, Adidas, and other major apparel companies to go with the homegrown apparel company. And this last picture right here is a picture of the Nigeria women's basketball team in their warm-ups. You can see Kente design on the sleeves as well as the pants and other different things that just show the uniqueness of AFA designs, as well as again, demonstrating it's a major apparel company that's starting on the continent, that's going to sell to people on the continent, and is planning to rival the large companies today that use predominantly people from the continent to market themselves and make millions. The next picture we're going to look at is the new league that's coming up, which is the Basketball Africa League. So this is a picture right here illustrating the signing of the Basketball Africa League. Again, you can look at all the NBA executives, Commissioner Silver, past and former players in the back. And this is very, very new. This happened last month. So last month, the Basketball Africa League, which is a new collaboration between the NBA and the sports global governing body, FIBA, which again stands for the Federation Internationale Basketball Association, was announced last Saturday. They initially had planned for 12-team league to begin play in January, and former President Obama was expected to have direct involvement with the league's operations, kind of being like the CEO. They were going to have a qualifying tournament, which was going to be held later in the year to determine the continental teams that would play. There was going to be teams from Angola, Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia expected to be taking part of it. One of the rules is no nation can have more than 2 teams in it. Commissioner Silver had Pepsi and Nike's Jordan brand among the partners who reached out to the NBA, said they wanted to partner with the African League, again, to flood with apparel and sign deals. But Mr. Udeze's AFA is, again, trying to supplant that. So they actually want the NBA to pay the AFA to make the uniforms to keep all the money in-house, which is, very smart. Let's see if it can get done. I don't know at first, but I think you should try for it because you have the power, because it's, again, your continent, your country, your players. So Commissioner Silver was reaching out to Pepsi again and Nike's Jordan brand, as well as Nike in general, to partner with the Basketball Africa League. Commissioner Silver also stated that former President Obama was going to be an enormous basketball fan and want to have a direct role in the league, which was yet to be determined. But again, he was going to serve as sort of someone like a commissioner. Amadou Fall, the NBA's vice president and managing director for Africa, the NBA and FIBA's involvement will also include financial support and resources toward continued growing of the game on the continent. And they want to provide a training structure for all these coaches and players and infrastructure for these new leagues. So again, to develop this league and hopefully play games in it, have the NBA come there like they do in China and other European countries, Commissioner Silver also stated that there are more than 400 companies in Africa that generate more than $1 billion annually, but that sport there is yet to see the same growth. And Africa has a huge economic engine that the NBA has yet to tap in. The reason being is, again, a lot of these countries put all their money into soccer, and basketball is still kind of new, even though a lot of people do well at it, and you see, but there's tons and tons of more people that are playing soccer than basketball. The NBA has previously held 3 games in Africa since 2015. All of them sold out. They had 2 in Johannesburg and the other in Pretoria. So those are all three cities in South Africa. So they have yet to have games in quote unquote sub-Saharan Africa. Yes, South Africa is in South Africa, right on the Indian Ocean. But if you look at its history of colonization and apartheid, there are a lot more Europeans in that country, and it's similar to the United States. So the NBA has yet to go to like Ghana, Nigeria, or Senegal, one of the West African countries, and play a game. The league has created an office in South Africa and created 87 learn and play facilities in 7 African countries, and also 13 players who were born in Africa on opening night were on opening rosters this season, showing their dedicated interest again and increase the number of players from Africa in the NBA. We also just recently showed you the academy they built in Senegal that opened nearly 2 years ago. The Basketball Africa League is Africa's premier men's basketball league, and are scheduled to begin play in 2 weeks, May 16th. And they were originally going to play on March 13th, but again, COVID messed that up. They finally settled on 12 teams to play. Each of these teams qualified through their domestic competition, and that was similar to the format of the UEFA Champions League, where they had a qualifying tournament. The league is a joint effort, again, between the National Basketball Association and FIBA, with sponsorship again with Nike, Jordan, and Pepsi. On May of 2019, Amadou Gallo Fall was assigned by the NBA as the first president of Basketball Association Africa. And in September 2019, the Basketball African League announced the venues and cities for its inaugural season, which included a Final Four to be played in Kigali Arena in Kigali, Rwanda. Rwanda is in East Africa and is a technology hub and has a large growing economy. Each club participating in the BL regular season was restricted to have 4 foreign players only, which means they had to have 8 local players on his roster. And then furthermore, those 4 foreign players, 2 of the 4 had to be from an African country. So again, they had rules, and it's best to have African players highlight the Basketball African League. When the league starts in 2 weeks, all the games will be broadcast by ESPN Africa, NBA TV, Canal Plus Afrique, Voices of America, TSN, BN Sports, and Tencent Video. Before we leave, I'd like to talk about the celebrity involvement in the Basketball Africa League. Due to the pandemic, they decided to have a bubble-like atmosphere like the NBA, and they're going to play all these games in Rwanda in the Kigali Arena complex, similar again to what the NBA did this season. Due to that, rapper J. Cole has decided to participate and has signed the contract with Basketball Africa League with the Rwanda Patriots. If you look at this picture of J. Cole right here, here's a picture, again, with the Basketball Africa League logo. As you look at this video of J. Cole beginning preparations to play for the Rwanda Patriots.
The hoop dreams are still alive for rapper J. Cole. He's done warming up on the sidelines, and he's finally going to be under the Friday night lights after being on the come up. If you don't get any of those references, well, let me put it simply. J. Cole is going to be playing professional basketball this weekend in Africa for the NBA's new Basketball Africa League. But what is the BAL? And is Cole really good enough to be playing in it? Sit back, lights please, and take this in. The BAL is a collaboration between FIBA and the NBA, which marks the NBA's first plans to operate a league outside of North America. The inaugural season was initially set to tip off in Senegal last year, but was postponed due to the pandemic. It has since been moved to a bubble in Rwanda's capital of Kigali, where the games will start on May 16th. The league comprises 12 teams from 12 different countries in Africa: Tunisia, Nigeria, Madagascar, Angola, Morocco, Mali, Cameroon, Egypt, Senegal, Algeria, Mozambique, and Rwanda. The season was initially set up to be like a normal NBA regular season, where every team would get an opportunity to face each other. But now it will consist of 3 groups that will battle it out in an 18-game regular season. The top 2 teams from each group will move on to the playoffs, which will be single elimination, with the hopes of the first ever BAL finals being held on May 30th. Each roster is set to comprise of 12 players and must have a mandatory of 8 national players from each country, plus 4 international players, 2 of which have to be African players from different countries. And that's where J. Cole comes in all of this. According to the New Times Rwanda and ESPN's Mark J. Spears, the 36-year-old rapper has signed a deal to join Rwanda's Patriots BBC and will reportedly play for 3 to 6 games starting on Sunday versus Nigeria's River Hoopers BC, which will be the first ever BAL game. And they didn't even get to see him work out for them. Oh God.
No pun intended.
You clearly intended that.
Now sure, basketball isn't the first thing you'd imagine when you think of the platinum-selling recording artist, but at the same time, we'd be lying if we said we didn't see this coming. Cole played basketball at Sanford High School in North Carolina and was briefly a walk-on for St. John's University in New York, which is a Division I basketball program. Cole eventually gave up basketball for a microphone, but his passion for the game was so clear even in his music. In a documentary previewing his upcoming album, Cole even talked about how his love for basketball fueled his hunger to make it as a rapper.
And I'm like, why you didn't make it in basketball? Because you wasn't working. You thought you'd be outside dribbling the ball doing something when really was in the gym with trainers, like putting in work, shooting 1,000 shots a day, and your dumb ass over there thinking you doing something, mimicking Iverson. Yeah. So it was like, yo, do you really want to look back 10, 20 years from now with this music shit and be like, the reason you didn't make it in music is because you ain't put in the work?
On the covers of his 2 early mixtapes, The Warm Up and Friday Night Lights, Cole can be seen with a basketball. And on the cover of his debut album, The Sideline Story, Cole is donning a Letterman jacket in a locker room. In 2012, he was in the NBA Celebrity Game during All-Star Weekend and showed off his bunnies.
Any type of movement, it becomes a problem. It's over with. Oh, we just saw him dunk.
J. Cole rising up on the alley-oop feed from Kevin Hart.
And in 2019, then Mavericks guard Dennis Smith Jr., who is also from J. Cole's hometown of Fayetteville, North Carolina, donned a J. Cole jersey in the dunk contest, and Cole himself even attempted a dunk. Later on, DSJ told House of Highlights that he and Cole often work out together, and that he even watched Cole drop 45 points in a rec league game.
We ride into the game, we driving, and he had like 45, bro. And I'm not lying, bro. He get a 2-hand dunk on the break. He make every shot.
You need to DM us these highlights. Cut the mixtape.
This was unbelievable, bro.
A couple of months after the All-Star game, Cole was spotted in an open gym playing pickup basketball with the likes of Carmelo Anthony, Trae Young, Lance Stevenson, and J.R. Smith, and was holding his own. To be fair, it didn't seem like anyone was really trying, but still. Cole's passion for hoops continued to be on display when he collaborated with Puma for a basketball shoe, and just months later, detailed his passion for the sport in a Players Tribune article titled The Audacity, where he hinted at potentially trying to play professionally. He was even getting advice from another rapper turned basketball player, Master P, who played a couple of preseason games for the Charlotte Hornets and Toronto Raptors in the late 90s. The Detroit Pistons even jumped in on the joke, telling Cole to try out for the team. And now with the BAL, that dollar in a dream he once had is somewhat a reality. Okay, I'll stop with the puns, I'm sorry.
He's lying.
As far as how you view Cole and the legitimacy of the BAL, that's up to you. Some may say that this isn't the best idea for a league that is trying to prove it's comparable competitively to other professional leagues in Europe and Australia. And Cole shouldn't take away from that, because there's a lot of professional level talent in the BAL too, including former NBA player Ben Uzo. And on the other hand, this is a perfect publicity stunt to get even the casual fan to be interested and watching Sunday's game with intent. It also isn't a coincidence that Cole is set to release his 6th studio album titled The Offseason on Friday, and the cover art shows a basketball net engulfed in flames. So what do you think? Is this good for the BAL? Can J. Cole stick around? Or is this just another celebrity off of a power trip? Sorry, I couldn't resist. Let us know what you think in the comments though.
So to give you a little bit more about J. Cole, he arrived in Rwanda Monday and is currently quarantining so he can play this weekend against the team from Nigeria. J. Cole, he played basketball at Sanford High School, which is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and again walked on at St. John's University in New York. He ultimately left college to pursue music and never played in a game, even though he was on the team for a brief moment. This inaugural season of the BAL, again, is going to feature a total of 26 games, beginning with the first of an 18-group series this Sunday with J. Cole playing the team from Nigeria. I think this is a great move because, again, you want to get all eyes on the new league, and he's not going to play the whole season. He's going to play maybe 3 to 7 games. So hopefully this will increase the exposure with other former NBA and former college stars that this league can begin to grow. And basically it's just like HBCUs. If the top talent went to the Basketball African League, it'd be the best league in the world. The top 8 teams from the group were going to qualify for the playoffs, which they would then turn into a single elimination tournament in all 3 rounds, which is going to differ from the NBA, which does a best of 7. The finals are scheduled to be this May on the 30th, so please tune into that. I'm gonna watch the game Sunday as well. J. Cole is again expected to make his debut Sunday. Tip-off is at 7, and the game should air on ESPN News. In closing, just addressing the Basketball Africa League. That league is showcasing homegrown talent, ownership, and promoting the continent of Africa, where so many times is exploited due to its natural resources, the intellectual infrastructure of the people being taken away, or nothing being given in return. So this is great. I hope this will spin over into soccer and other sports. So not only we can see a basketball champion, but the World Cup come home to Africa by one of the countries, either Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, etc., Egypt even. And this will just spawn more ownership instead of having a colonial mindset in athletics while your talent is exported and you get nothing in return. As others have stated, if the wealth of basketball talent is from the continent should have the best basketball. Again, one day we could see an African champion versus an NBA champion in a 7-game series, depending on how global sports move in the future. Remember what the European Super League tried to do, so the NBA could try to do that in the future and add some teams for the Basketball Africa League. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Sports 101. I'm your host, Jamar Harp. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Coach_Harp412. Also, make sure you get social with Sports 101 and a litany of other shows on SportsZone Chicago by following SportsZone Chicago on social media. SportsZone Chicago will be found on Twitter at SportsZone CHI, Facebook at SportsZone Chicago, and Instagram at SportsZone Chicago. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, search SportsZone Chicago, but most importantly, download the SportsZone Chicago app. The SportsZone Chicago app can be found in the iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon stores. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Sports 101, and I will see you next week at our normal scheduled time, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a great week.